This is Christ of the Ozarks. Christ of the Ozarks is located in the Victorian village of Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Emmett Sullivan, apprentice to a sculptor involved in the making of Mount Rushmore, created Christ of the Ozarks, finishing his work in 1966. Freely open to the public, this sculpture can be found on Magnetic Mountain, located 1,500 feet up in the beautiful Ozark Mountains, giving the work its name. Gerald L.K. Smith, a man well known at the time for religious controversy, commissioned the statue. Originally, the work was meant to function as the centerpiece of a Christian theme park called Sacred Projects. Instead, the statue is accompanied by a 4,100-person amphitheater. The amphitheater is home to performances of the Great Passion Play, which depicts the Passion of Jesus Christ, his life, and his death. More than 500,000 people come to view the statue and the play each year. Standing at 67 feet tall, Christ of the Ozarks is presently the largest Christ statue in North America. Weighing in at 2 million tons, the statue was entirely built by hand. No poured segments were used to place the 24 layers of white mortar onto the steel frame. The steel frame had to be surrounded by scaffolding while it was built, and workers even had to construct an elevator to reach the heights of the statue. Along with Christ of the Ozarks, sculptor Emmett Sullivan also created dinosaur sculptures for Dinosaur Park in Rapid City, South Dakota, and Wall Drug in Wall, South Dakota. Sullivan's work possesses a quite symmetrical balance. Other than the folds in his clothing, the marvel Jesus is almost entirely symmetric. The sculpture stands tall on a vertical plane with its arms stretched out on a horizontal plane. The sides of the statue are more rigid with a rectangular look. This creates a sturdy, almost reliable aspect. Also, the entire piece is white, giving the figure an air of purity and holiness. Because this piece depicts Jesus Christ of Nazareth, there are many texts that relate to the work. Though not directly relating to one exact story or letter, the entire New Testament and much of the Old Testament applies to the sculpture. For instance, Jesus' hands are outstretched in the sculpture much like they were while he was crucified on a cross, a story found in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. At the same time, the Christ of the Ozarks statue is standing in a position of power, much like Christ whenever he is referred to as the King of Kings in many texts. The juxtaposition of imagery of a cross alongside the imagery of power and might found in Christ of the Ozarks brings to mind a passage in Philippians chapter 2, which says, "And being found in appearance as man, he humbled himself and became obedient to death, even death on a cross. Therefore God exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name which is above all names." Christ of the Ozarks appears to carry a wider range of influencers, most notably Mount Rushmore, a piece on which Emmett Sullivan was an apprentice. Christ of the Ozarks also appears to draw influence from neoclassicism and federalism. With its simple design, the piece actually goes against abstraction, which was popular at the time. Located in Arkansas, the sculpture's direct link to the Christian faith gives it qualities of American regionalism. While Sullivan appears to take cues from many different styles, his piece also fits quite well into postmodernism. Christ of the Ozarks initially caught my attention due to its religious symbolism. I am a Christian, and any artwork related to Christianity interests me. The simultaneous portrayal of Christ on the cross, as well as with his power, might, and holiness, creates the incredible juxtaposition of humility and power that I personally see in the New Testament. The statue displays his role as King of Kings, but the open arms also shine light on actions such as healing lepers and defending a woman caught in adultery. I see the work as incredible due to just how massive it is and how difficult it must have been to construct. A 67 feet tall Jesus is not something you see every day, and the fact that one exists is quite amazing. However, I do not love how it is styled. With the artist having been involved with Mount Rushmore, I hope for a better looking face on the sculpture, but the one it possesses almost seems bland. This is my only complaint though, as I quite like many of the features of the piece. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little more about Christ of the Ozarks.